The year was 2011.
Welcome to the world of Wii U.
Yay!
3 years after Rockstar's release of GTA 4, and still a couple of years out from when we would see the next major release of the franchise. A seemingly perfect time for developers United Front Games, along with Activision, to release their brand new entry of the true crime series. Bigger, better, oozing with open-world, neon-drenched crime drama action. And with the stage set, and with the game practically complete, Activision threw it all away. With the game being cancelled right at the last moment, due to concerns that it simply would not compete with Rockstar's record-breaking releases. But all was not lost, as 6 months later none other than Square Enix would pick up the game and pull it over the finish line, dropping the true crime license and releasing as Sleeping Dogs. This game, after being thrown aside, would go on to become one of the most beloved cult classic open-world action-adventure games ever made. The story of Wei Shen, an undercover cop and Hong Kong's answer to James Bond, if that answer was delivered while chewing on a pork bun while currently on fire. Boasting a story that ranks among Rockstar's finest, backed by an open world that often outshines it entirely. Today we find out just what went into this abandoned game to lead it to clutching victory from the jaws of defeat. The good, the bad. What?
Keep coming, you rat!
He's getting away! And the downright ridiculous. What the fuck was that? This is Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs opens meeting with our protagonist Wei Shen, working as a petty criminal undercover for the Hong Kong police, currently attempting to secure a drug deal with the 18K Triads from an overinflated looking gang member who looks like he hasn't slept since the dawn of time. A deal that goes completely tits up when a security guard spots the goings-on, leading to a rather violent retirement for the poor bloke, as well as a need to get away from the rapidly growing police presence, something that for the incredibly agile Wei at first seems achievable, but he is quickly taken in when falling foul of being tempted by the contents of a local's fridge freezer.
Hold on, look, I'm sorry, officer. Just one moment, sorry. I'm sorry, officer. I'm extremely parched. Just let me, There. So how's the wife?
Now in custody, Wei bumps into an old friend, Jackie. Jackie, along with being happy to see him, also provides an opportunity that just might jumpstart this undercover operation.
You remember Winston? He's moved all the way up to Redpole in the Sun On Ye.
Hey, Jackie. So look, if you and Winston ever need help with any of that shit you got going on with him...
Of course, man. Look me up when you get out. It'll just be like old times.
Reporting his development to his higher-ups, Superintendent Pendrew and Inspector Raymond Mack are keen for him to take advantage of this to get in with the Sun On Ye Triads, but with Raymond at least still holding some concerns. With Raymond worrying that due to both Wei having history with the Triads, as well as him being known for extreme behavior, which quite frankly I can tell you is the understatement of the century, this could turn into a bloodbath. But with Pendrew reassuring him,
Wei Shen is perfect for this job.
Now back on the streets, Wei meets up with Jackie once again, this time for an introduction to his boss Winston, for a chance to work for the Sun On Ye. A trip that quickly takes a violent turn, with some rival gang members showing up looking for a fight, who Wei cordially deals with, by introducing a number of them to the tranquil art of flower arranging. Also helping this local business owner shut up shop. With Wei actually getting so excited about all of this that he decides to T-pose his way into the next cutscene, giving us a look of what Sleeping Dogs would look like if it had leaned more into the horror angle. Making their way to Jackie's boss Winston, the group are initially unsure about bringing Wei into the fold, but luckily Winston remembers Wei's sister while doing a disturbing little dance. A sister that Wei reveals has unfortunately since passed away, leading to an awkward moment.
Where's she now?
She's dead.
Sorry. 唔好意思啊。
But one that, along with Wei taking down 10 dudes by himself, buys him a shot at joining this branch of the Sun On Yi. However, first he must prove himself to the group, showing off his hand-to-hand prowess out in the alley, when another familiar face makes an appearance. Dog Eyes. A childhood friend turned total ballbag that not only has a history with Wei, leading to him stabbing Dog Eyes with a pen in his youth, but also tragically with his sister later in life.
The night market is mine, Dog Eyes. You got Siwa in the warehouse. That was the deal. So stay the out.
Hey, tell your sister to give me a call, huh? I wouldn't mind giving her a mouthful.
Riled up by Dog Eyes, Winston tasks Wei and Jackie with reminding the neighborhood who runs the streets, getting to wander through the markets to send a message, as well as enjoy some of the stalls and beverages on offer. A beverage that Wei momentarily mistakes for a telephone.
Oh, you?
Enjoying the markets while kindly helping an old man down the street. Wei and Jackie speak to some of the local traders to remind them that Winston and his Water Street boys run these streets, and they should pay their protection money to him, which, as you would imagine, angers Dog Eyes' men lingering nearby. However, they are quickly turned into a good showing of the new might of the Water Street boys. Putting on quite the show, it is, however, still clear that Wei will need to do more to convince everyone in this branch of the Sun On Yi that he is legit.
I tell you what I didn't see. Nothing to be impressed about.
I work my ass off all day, so off and grow up.
Jackie, you're coming with me. We got something to take care of.
Feeling good about his progress, Wei then agrees to deliver some money for a woman owed to a nearby shop, only to get ambushed by Dog Eyes' men once again, right in the middle of all the festivities, which ends up being quite a useful location, getting to drop the base all over their face to return the cash. With this not being the only face-related development, if you can believe that, as we are introduced to another of Sleeping Dog's progression mechanics. Completing jobs for strangers and friends around the city will actually contribute to Wei leveling up his face, something that I feel Simon Cowell may have been recently getting a little bit too carried away with this granting access to various buffs and unlockables throughout Wei's adventure, and working alongside leveling up both his Triad and Cop level for skill tree unlocks. Well, to be honest, it's a bit of a shame that you can't order up some LOL on command. Well, unless of course you've signed up for the MitchManix Patreon, getting access to fully exclusive videos, outtakes, behind the scenes, as well as ad-free, uncensored and often extended versions of the main channel videos, while getting your name featured in all the channel videos. That's some truly gourmet shit right there. Keen to further prove himself, Wei agrees to track down a dealer for Winston, who also apparently is pushing the protection from the Water Street boys aside, to instead align with Dog Eyes, due to Dog Eyes' ever-increasing grip on the region. That or the gang Water Street boys not exactly having a name that installs fear, instead sounding more like a failed boy band from the 1990s. Wasting no time tracking the man down, giving chase and of course not wasting an opportunity to steal a woman's purse in the process, Wei catches up with the dealer, and they throw down, with Wei once again putting on a strong showing, before getting rudely interrupted. Now in police custody, Wei is grilled by one Inspector Tang, but not long before Pendrew butting in and explaining to the inspector that Wei is in fact undercover, with Pendrew explaining this, of course in his typical cockwaffle fashion.
Congratulations, Tang, so now you know. Maybe now we can make sure that we're helping Wei, not making his job harder than it already is,
Yeah, it doesn't seem like I have much of a choice.
No, you don't. Now see yourself out.
Permission to speak freely.
Denied. You need to be more careful, Wei. Much more careful.
Waking back up in his apartment, and once again heading out to prove himself to Winston.
Okay, note to self. Avoid the chili.
Wei meets up once again with his buddy Jackie to discuss their next move.
You okay, man? You look like someone took a shit on your face.
Bit harsh?
After some discussion together, they decide to boost some counterfeit watches Dog Eyes is waiting on, killing two birds with one stone, pleasing Winston and pissing off Dog Eyes. With things ticking along quite nicely with the Water Street boys, Wei pays a visit to Inspector Tang. apologizing for Pendrew's ballbaggery and extending an offer to help dig up some intel on some of the recent drug deals popping up in the city, shutting Special K.
Come on, what do you say?
I could really use the help if you're willing to give in.
With both a cop and a triad plan in place, Wei then takes a drive around the city, during which getting mildly obsessed with the ability to open his car door mid-drive, and leading to a rather embarrassing amount of time spent cruising around harassing the general public and causing a fair amount of property damage in the process. It's while cruising around that we also get to see some more of the game's open-world missions, with Wei being hailed down by one of his triad associates, who apparently needs a ride after punching a cop in the face he claims slept with his girl.
Let's go! What the hell?
Where are we going? Where are we going? Where we go? Oh, okay.
Relying on Wei's incredible driving abilities to make a swift getaway.
That asshole was sleeping with my girlfriend!
You can't just punch a cop.
I know!
Keeping his promise to Tang to look for the Ket deals going down in the city, Wei pays a visit to the dealer he was tussling with earlier, who explains that since finishing business with Dog Eyes, he has not returned to his supplier, someone that Wei could get some valuable information from around these deals, so agrees to check in with him to square things off. Meeting the bloke, he introduces himself as Popstar, someone who surely should be getting along with the Water Street boys, and tasks Wei with grabbing some debts owed to him to prove that he is legit, that luckily are just around the corner, shaking some cash from a chubby Kylo Ren, before returning it to Popstar, after he has finished speaking with his supplier Fang Shen. Popstar, now reassured, sells some product away, an act that does not go unnoticed by the Hong Kong police, who close in to arrest Wei, with him this time slipping away. Now armed with more intel around these drug deals, Wei reports in and is informed that he will need to access some of the local security cameras to catch this Fang Shen in the act of selling his product. Cameras unfortunately guarded by thugs, that of course Wei must dispose of. Our hero once again putting on a display of his martial arts prowess, utterly terrifying these thugs with Wei's might. Only one thug remains, who attempts the shittest getaway I have ever seen.
Ah! Drive!
There is no one driving, buddy.
Drive!
There's still no one driving, buddy.
Hacking into the camera system and getting the dealer shut down, Wei leaves Popstar to think on his next move for a while and returns to his apartment to get some rest, while doing so bumping into Amanda, a tourist looking for some directions to a kung fu school, which Wei kindly helps the lady with, leading to a sweet moment. Well, one that would be sweet, if Wei hadn't at some point during all the excitement.
My name's Amanda, by the way. Or Amy. Either one is fine.
Oh, nice to meet you, Amy.
Unfortunately lost his trousers. Looking to rectify his wardrobe malfunction, Wei visits one of the local clothing stores. While failing to buy any trousers, he does hear some commotion outside.
Thanks for nothing.
And runs to see what's going on, seeing a couple of pedestrians struck down in the street. It's here Wei has a moment to himself. Standing still, unfortunately, in his pants, he thinks on how detailed this open world truly is, as an ambulance pulls up, with a paramedic jumping out, to surely save the lives of these poor individuals. Now finally wearing trousers, Wei returns to Winston, to see that their provoking of Dog Eyes once again has caused Mr. Eyes to retaliate, by convincing the owner of the local club Bam Bam, and Winston's personal friend, to instead work for Dog Eyes. Something that of course Wei is tasked with sorting out, as he wastes no time heading straight there. Wandering into the club and checking out some of the odd-looking clientele.
Ah, well, aren't you just a terrifying-looking bastard? You having a nice night, Igor?
Wei must find a way of getting access to the VIP room, luckily able to convince one of the club's hosts to hang out, and hopefully convince into letting him in. To do this, he must impress her with his karaoke skills, something that sadly isn't quite up to scratch as his kung fu skills, however conveniently assisting with any copyright issues. Slogging his way through, and somehow literally blowing the hostess away.
Enthusiastic.
Listen, I like it down here, but back home, I'm used to a little more. You'd be the person I'd talk to about that, right?
Wei gets access to the VIP room that quickly is rebranded as the Very Into Punching Room, with his requests to rejoin Winston falling on deaf ears, leading to another brawl.
Okay. Just listen. Okay. What do you want?
Just what I said. Winston wants to be your friend.
Can I go now?
Of course you can, Benny.
Finishing up another job for the Triads gives Wei some time to check back in with Popstar and his dealings, with another round of surveillance.
What are you doing, Popstar?
This time leading to a much more violent conclusion. Snapping a pic of Popstar gunning down one of his associates, but with it grabbing enough to put him away for good, and with it allowing Wei to keep his promise to Inspector Tang.
Somebody call for help!
We've charged Popstar and his top lieutenants. Conspiracy, trafficking, possession, and murder. He'll get life. And we've seized what looks like an entire month's supply. Thanks, Wei. We've done more to stop drugs coming into Hong Kong than half the narcotics squad combined.
An opportunity for a celebratory pork bun if I ever saw one.
You look like you could use a pork bun.
I'll take some, thanks.
Thanks, Wei. Enjoy.
Hard time making up my mind.
Why don't you have a pork bun in your hand?
I literally just bought one.
All of these arrests, however, have created a new problem, punctuated perfectly when returning to Winston.
Wait, we've been waiting for you.
You guys smell something? I do. 一直食屎嘅老鼠. You know what happens to rats, Wei?
Yeah, I heard. Conroy gave me all the details when he was helping me out on that midway.
With the Water Street Boys connecting the dots with the latest arrests, and requiring Wei to think on his feet if he doesn't want to end up a pork bun himself.
Rat, I sent you to Popstar, and now he's in jail!
Yeah? And who stands to gain the most from that? You're gonna take over Popstar's whole ketamine racket now. No more scraps for you.
You're still working for that bastard, aren't you? Wait, Winston, I swear! Always a dirty
Alarmingly, just after nearly losing it all, Wei is contacted by his police handler, Raymond, who requests that he bugs the restaurant that he was just nearly murdered in, heading over to the tech store that he is directed to. Wei meets Not Ping.
Can I help you with something?
Yeah. Are you Ping?
No, there's no Ping.
How about the owner then?
I'm the owner.
A tech expert and the one holding onto the kit he would need to plant the bug, with Wei not holding onto it for too long, as it is instantly stolen by a thief that is quickly dealt with, of course grabbing another handbag for good measure in the process. With the bug installed, Wei is next tasked with infiltrating the underground racing scene, after being provided a decent car to challenge some local racers. Blasting through the race, he does enough to impress some of the more established racers amongst the group.
You ready for the big time? Let me know. Everybody knows I'm the best driver in the city. Everyone.
Oh yeah? I'll take you down too, hotshot. Just as soon as my car is fixed.
Another seed planted to help with another investigation. Needing a little time to unwind from all of this, Wei heads over to the Bam Bam Club to hang out with hostess Tiffany once more.
Igor, I know you have a ridiculously sized head, but you cannot slap a woman, especially one offering you ice cream.
Getting to see some incredible attention to detail contained within the city, with the club during the daylight hours, instead of being bustling with clubbers, instead is practically empty, with just a bloke cleaning up from the night before, heading into another round of karaoke, and finding out that even when doing it perfectly, it still comes out incredibly flat.
With my head on the floor, thinking of you till it hurts.
Oh yeah, it hurts alright.
Wei then heads over to another date, this time with Not Ping.
There you are.
Yes, she's actually called that. who romantically suggests setting up some bugs together while doing her best impression of a nutcracker.
All right. When I feel restless, I come out here and hotwire a camera, just for fun.
Finishing up his second date, Wei then gives back to the community by agreeing to snap some pictures for a woman who owns a t-shirt store to use as some new designs, so kindly asking a bloke to borrow his car. He goes on a sightseeing trip, taking snaps of some of the top locations in town, while battling against another bit of attention to detail, with the GPS system actually accommodating for drifting over into the other lanes when blasting towards the next destination. Something that I have to admit, I didn't realize at first.
What? It's telling me to go the... This is ridiculous. Oh, for God's sake, make your mind up. I mean, what's the point? I didn't realize that this GPS system was possessed by the soul of my wife.
After Wei making so many lady friends, unfortunately the next day takes a darker turn, as he is warned by an associate outside his apartment that Tiffany, the club hostess, has been spotted with another man. So Wei of course tracks her down and begins tailing her, completely ignoring just how batshit mental it is for him to be stalking this woman on a moped in his pants after only a couple of rounds of karaoke, finding her in the act and swiftly breaking up the relationship. Wei then spends a moment before returning to Winston to think about his work undercover, about the relationships he is forging in a lie, and just what might be at the end of this incredibly dangerous assignment. Returning to Winston finally, we find out that Dog Eyes has gone too far, with Dog Eyes paying a visit to Winston's creature from the black latrine-looking mother at the restaurant, looking to scare Winston into standing down. Instead, as Wei I'm sure would approve, Winston doubles down.
I want it burned to the ground. Siwa runs the operation. Put that Gaton in the shallow grave. Don't turn my yeah. It's over.
Winston, are you sure about this?
Of course, I'm fucking sure.
Look, what's the chairman gonna say when he finds his warehouse floating in the ocean?
He's not gonna like it. But there's no way Dog Eyes walks away from this.
So burn the warehouse, but take Suwa alive. Put him to work for you, and give the chairman a bigger cut than he was getting from Dog Eyes.
Okay, do it. Bring him alive.
Right, boss.
Ordering Wei and his men to hit Dog Eye's sweatshop on the waterfront, Dog Eye's biggest moneymaker, and burn it to the ground, while kidnapping the one running the operation, a man named Siwa. Heading to the location, Wei's loyalty is once again questioned, with one of Winston's men demanding Wei kill one of Dog Eye's henchmen to prove he is not working with the cops.
The new guy. Once you're inside, find your own gun and use it. Believe me, you better have some bodies on you before the night is over.
A bit of a ridiculous request if you ask me, especially if this bloke has spent more than a couple of minutes with Wei at literally any point. Arriving at the sweatshop, Wei blasts in and begins chewing through Dog Eye's men, making sure to continue the insanely violent methods to dispatch his foes, and not taking long in tracking down Siwa. Using him as a human shield, he works his way back outside, with all of this of course attracting once again the attention of the local law enforcement, leading to Wei having to get creative when taking back ownership of Mr. Wah. Along with, of course, making his escape, with Winston pleased with Siwa being captured, and when it comes to Wei, the gang overall starting to come around.
I'm sorry, I was wrong about you. You show your true colors tonight, brother.
After another success with Winston and his Water Street Boys branch of the Sun On Yee, Wei once again picks up the task of looking into some of Hong Kong's smaller-scale street gangs, planting a bug under the car of one of the hotshot racers, coincidentally named Hotshot, and tailing them while listening in for some unexpected intel.
Hey, you know this guy Wei Shin? Supposed to be Sun On Yee. Every time I turn around, that guy shows up. And usually the cops aren't far behind. Started racing the other day. Talking tough. You think he's a rat? Or undercover. They had a problem with that a little while back. You think they kill a cop and the police just go away? Sun On Yee's in trouble if he is. I'm 18K, what do I care?
While also alarmingly finding out that Hotshot has a race coming up, one that Hotshot is planning to rig and cause the death of the other driver. A concerning development indeed. and one that Wei immediately reports back to Inspector Tang. Still looking for something else to stretch his legs, Wei then turns to a tip he had around the city's security vans, snagging one for himself for a little additional funds to fuel his ever-growing career in crime. A career that is about to get a whole lot more complex, after returning to Winston to find out that they have both been summoned to meet with the mysterious Uncle Po, none other than the chairman of the Sun On Yi, and a meeting that Winston is clearly planning for the worst with, practically saying his goodbyes on the drive over.
Listen, Wei. Anything happens to me, you look after our people, okay?
The tension only building, the two make their way into the apartment block for the meeting, bumping into henchman and professional slimy tit, Ricky, standing outside.
Hey, Winston. What's wrong? You look a little pale, man. That dog guys tells me you've been throwing your weight around. What happened? You guys used to be tight as shit.
Is he here?
Nah, he left a while ago. Without a scratch. Doesn't bode so well for the other parties involved.
Meeting Uncle Po, he is pleased with Wei's efforts, commending his attitude and loyalty, and with Wei so taken aback forgets to engage his vocal cords when replying.
Winston says you're the one who made sure Siwa was not arrested.
No, it was Winston's idea. He had to assert himself. Assert his position. But he didn't want to inconvenience you in the process.
Did he now?
Po, to thank Wei, sends him to Roland Ho for a chance at some lucrative business, which Wei accepts and goes to leave, reluctantly leaving Winston in the presence of the chairman and getting busy with the drive home, leaving him with the only thought being whether his buddy will be okay. Later on, finally receiving a call from Winston while heading over to Roland, Winston explains that everything worked out and to meet him back at the restaurant when he's done with his new job. A job that, after talking to Roland, once again boils down to collecting a debt that, unfortunately for Wei, is getting, well, away.
Shit, that's a lot of muscle.
Catching up to the woman and introducing ourselves in the most over-the-top way possible. She lets Wei know that the drugs in the car will pay off her debts, with her then making the swiftest of exits.
See? Even she's sick of the GPS.
Returning the car and in turn establishing himself amongst Uncle Po's circle, Wei then reports in with his undercover handler, Raymond.
Raymond, do you ever actually read my reports?
Your reports? All I have to do is read the goddamn newspapers. They're calling it a massacre. If it ever came out that the police were involved, we're dead.
It won't.
Well, you can't know that.
Who is concerned about the carnage he is creating.
Oh yeah. Haha, fast food, baby.
Understandable. Raymond talks about things getting so out of control that he fears they will have to shut this entire operation down, in a conversation just further highlighting this game's exceptional dialogue.
What does Pendrew say?
You know, he's not your handle, Wei. I am.
Well, then fucking handle it, Raymond. Well, how'd you think this was gonna go down? Huh? Whatever it takes, you remember that? You wanted results, and you can't get them sitting behind a desk, nose in a rulebook, with a stick up your ass. Look, Raymond, I am doing what needs to be done.
No, you've crossed the line, Wei. I'm gonna terminate this operation.
You can't do that. Pendrew won't allow it.
Pendrew may like to take chances, I don't. And you are dangerous.
Fine. But before you go back to your office to try and pull the plug, go ahead and tell Pendrew that I just met the chairman of the Sun On Yi.
The chairman? Wait, you're just a foot soldier.
Well, this foot soldier has just been marked for promotion because I made sure Suwa got out safely. It'll be in my report, and maybe this time you'll actually read it.
With things calming down somewhat, Wei heads back to the restaurant to catch up with Winston, being greeted by his blood-born DLC boss of a mother, who sets Wei off to prepare for Winston's upcoming wedding, beginning first by taking the bride-to-be out on a drive to pick up some flowers. with this being a nice opportunity to get to know Winston's soon-to-be wife, who I believe is not part of the gang. As for what she does do for work, I do not know, but if I had to hazard a guess, it would be that she is at least somewhat involved with marketing Viagra.
You have to have someone you can be soft with too, Wei. It's very important. If you're hard all the time, one day you'll forget how to be soft. Then where will you be?
With the flowers collected, all is in place for the big day. With the day of, Wei needing a suitable outfit, so heads over to one of the upmarket stores to get dressed for the occasion,
You look like you could use a pork bun.
while giving Jackie a call to check in.
Hey man, stuck in traffic. I'll get there as soon as possible.
And oddly being bogged out by some bloke in the shop that after getting handsy is lovingly assisted into picking up his change. With only the event itself now left to attend, Wei drives on over while seeing the celebrations are already very much in swing, with some of the wedding goers clearly already a little too high. This, however, is short-lived, as after taking out some booze for the party, Wei hears gunshots ringing out. Running around the corner to see one of the guests getting absolutely demolished, he bursts into the banquet hall to see his worst fears confirmed, as the event is a bloodbath, with armed men tearing the place up, battling his way through the halls, and tragically coming across Winston and his wife, who have set a razor-sharp new record on Till Death Do Us Part. Wei knows he must seek out Uncle Po to at least secure his safety. Tracking down Po and blasting his way out, the two make it to a nearby hospital to drop off Po and take a breath, when once again reporting in with his handler, Raymond, in what is possibly the least subtle location on Earth for a secret meeting.
It was a massacre, Raymond. A massacre. Winston was a Red Pole, sure, but his wife, they gunned down his wife on her wedding day.
We knew you would become personally attached, Wei. It's inevitable in an operation like this. And seeing something like that would be hard. Hard for anyone.
It's war now.
No, it's not. You're a cop, all right? Your job is to enforce the law. You can't remember that? I'll pull you out right now.
Pull me out?
Your job was to get close to Winston. Now, that's not much of a strategy anymore.
Get close to... Open your eyes, Raymond. I am Winston now. With him gone, I'll be taking his place. You want the chairman? I report to him now. You want the Red Poles? I'm one of them.
That's what worries me, Wei. You're one of them.
With the heat around Winston just too hot to handle right now, Wei turns his attention back to investigating this racer hotshot, tracing his location to a site that brings yet more tragedy. Seeing that Hotshot's plan to murder his rival racer has been successful, finding only the smoldering wreckage, but with it an opportunity to set things right. Finally, a race with the man is presented to him, and after a call with Tang to set up a sting, Wei barrels down the highway to the meeting place for the race, a race that of course this ballbag cheats on right at the start.
Sucker!
But good of him to get a win in where he can, as unbeknownst to him, as the police descend, Hotshot lost the race before it even began.
See you later, Hotshot. Hey, say hi to the police for me.
This is the XKPD.
With another success, and this act, according to Tang, being of great importance.
We picked Hotshot up. Little punk never shuts up. You should have seen the look on his face when we charged him with murder. He'll get 20 years at least. Nobody pays much attention to those guys, but they kill or injure dozens of people a year. Impossible to say how many lives you've saved, but you really did a job on this one, Officer Shen.
Oh, Igor. You have a new line of work, I see. Well, it's good to see you moving away from slapping women trying to give you ice cream. Hold on a minute. Enhance. Yeah, that makes sense. And as for this guy, he's okay. Yeah, I'm sure you'll get him back around. Just try slapping him in the face a little bit.
Still in pieces over the wedding massacre, Wei pulls himself together enough to return to the club to check in on the boys.
Stick together.
We just can't let the 18K get away with this.
What makes you so sure it was 18K?
We all saw them. They were definitely 18K. Even stupid Jackie knows that.
You ever think maybe they were just trying to look like 18K?
After discussing who could be behind such a despicable attack, an unknown face strides in, claiming to be sent by Big Smile Lee, with Lee, like Winston, being another of the higher-ranked Red Pole leaders of the Sun On Yi.
He has decided that for the time being, you may continue your operations in this area. But the percentage previously paid to Winston will now go to Mr. Lee.
That's an interesting proposition. But I have a counteroffer from Mr. Lee. I'd appreciate if you relay this back to him word for word. Can you do that? You tell Mr. Lee that his people stay the f*** out of our territory, and in return, we'll let him live.
I don't think you'll find that offer to his liking.
I think you'll find that I don't give a f***. You see our guest out, make sure he doesn't get lost.
You'll regret this. I promise you that.
With the swiftest dose of ground and find out now in full swing, the club is under attack by Lee's men, cutting down the assaulting forces. Wei and Jackie make it outside and continue to chase down Lee's ponytail-toting henchman, that after a nasty crash, resumes on foot, as we find out this bloke is in fact named Ponytail, making me pause for a moment and wonder what Wei's cool triad name would be. Possibly Strangled Cat. Pork Bun, maybe? Oh, let's be real. I think we all know that there is no other real option than the Slaminator. Catching up with Ponytail, Wei delivers another beatdown, only to be distracted for a moment by the rapidly approaching police, giving Ponytail a chance to slip away. While escaping the police, Wei curiously comes across a limo and someone beckoning him in. Jumping in, he is introduced to Broken Nose Jiang, another notorious Red Pole leader in the Sun On Yee. Jiang proposes to Wei that they work together against the 18K, as well as handle Big Smile Lee, whose plans do not align with how she sees the future of the Sun On Yee.
I want to take the Sun On Yee forward, but it would be unwise even for me to stand against Big Smile Lee unaided. Which brings me to you. Now, we both appear to have the same problem, Wei Shen, and the opportunity to benefit if we work together.
With quite the load to think on, Wei heads back to the restaurant owned by Winston's genuinely terrifying mother to offer his condolences, as well as a promise to find out who is responsible for her son's murder.
No. When you find him, you bring him here. You bring him to me.
Now fueled by the opportunity to avenge his friend, Wei carves a path to the individual he remembers from the wedding, leading to another car chase, as well as Wei once again diving onto the roof like a pork bun-powered Terminator to capture the hoodlum, sparing no time in driving him all the way back into the clutches of Winston's mother.
Osama! I don't know what this guy told you! He told me you were there the day Winston died, and now you're going to tell me who was behind it.
I don't know what you're talking about, you crazy old bitch! Please!
Wei, 你而家應該走，你走啦，Wei。
Wei, don't leave.
With some time before having to make his next move within the Sun On Yee, Wei heads over to check in on Jackie.
Oh, Igor, you're a mechanic now, it seems. Well, I'm not surprised you didn't last as a paramedic. Whatever keeps you busy, eh, Igor?
With Jackie in bad sorts, after being swindled out of a deal for the watches we pinched earlier, asking Wei to help sort it out.
Give me the bike, I'll get you your money.
What are you gonna do?
Same thing I always do, Jackie.
Returning to Winston's mother, she has news on what she has been able to extract from the one Wei identified as one of the attackers at the wedding.
Dog Eyes.
Dog Eyes did it. Is that what Johnny told you?
我鼓勵佢，而家。
Find him and bring him here.
Well, well, well. If it isn't Dog Eyes popping up once again as the one that has farted in the kettle, this truly is way too much, as he barrels down the highway straight to Dog Eyes' last known location.
Ew, they don't run
Hey, Dog Eyes!
Oh, shit! Move!
Jumping in a speedboat to continue the chase that I'm not sure if Wei truly understands the mechanics of. Battling his way through Dog Eye's henchmen, it only takes a few more bodies before Wei gets a chance to face off against the fedora-toting flailing ballbag himself.
You can't take this stuff personally, Wei. It was business. You know what I'm saying?
With the ballsack being a notable part of this beatdown, with Wei smashing Dog Eyes in his pork buns so many times that even he wouldn't eat them. With Dog Eyes battered, Wei yeets him into a car and jumps in with an associate at the wheel to make his escape from Dog Eyes' men closing in. A task made all the more infuriating, considering this poor choice of driver.
Seriously, dude? Seriously?
Blasting back Dog Eyes' henchman, Wei delivers him to Winston's mother, who ties him up, feeds him some parts of his friend we delivered to her earlier, and proceeds to dismantle him with a meat cleaver. I take back what I said about you, fair maiden. Winston's mum is based as f***.
We don't need to bring her into this!
Sorry. It's nothing personal. Just business.
Oh God! I'm sorry, please! No!
With Dog Eyes now out of the picture, but with the looming threat of the 18K and the police, a meeting is gathered around Uncle Po to talk on the importance of the Sun On Yee coming together, with Po demanding that the infighting stops to focus on the true enemies of the Triad, with this beginning with Wei getting quite the promotion.
Pak, see to it that Wei is formally initiated. He's been a loyal foot soldier to the Sun On Yee. It's time to make him a red pole.
In Po's absence, the question still remains of who will lead the Sun On Yee in the interim, with Po's rotund nephew being suggested by Broken Nose Jiang.
Tu Qian, can you handle this responsibility? Temporary chairman?
Yes, Uncle. I am ready and grateful for the opportunity.
After a while heading to the site of the initiation, Wei and his closest associates are initiated into the Sun On Yee, with Wei becoming a red pole, although a ceremony that becomes a little awkward due to Wei's, let's just say, slightly poor choice of clothing.
Our brotherhood pays our enemies with pain, suffering, and death, and none suffers more than a traitor. Betray your brothers, and you will die 1,000 times over, slowly.
Somehow managing to make it through his initiation, and now officially a red pole in the Sun On Yee. Following his initiation, Wei checks back in with his undercover handler Raymond, who asks Wei to get close to one Sunny Wo, a businessman working closely with the Sun On Yee, with the police planning to not only cut down the Triad themselves, but also those that support them.
I'll see what I can do, Raymond.
By the way, you hear anything about Dog Eyes? He seems to have disappeared.
Haven't heard a thing.
Raymond also informs Wei that Pendrew has ordered the arrest of his friend Jackie for information, something that doesn't exactly go down well.
Taking him in accomplishes nothing, and it makes my job harder. I'm not doing it.
You don't have a choice, all right? It's a direct order.
Yeah? Direct order? Well, that's an order you can shove directly up your ass, Raymond.
Following all this drama, Wei then heads home, with all of this stress clearly getting to him.
Oh, my pork bun energy is low.
Unfortunately for our hero, things are about to get way more intense as he receives a call from Ricky, frantically explaining that he has heard word of a hit squad making their way to the city's hospital to take out Uncle Po. So Wei sprints to his car and immediately races to the hospital to intervene. Arriving, another shootout breaks out, with Wei and Ricky left not knowing just what will happen next.
I don't know, man. Feels like the game has changed. Used to be a brotherhood. There was a code, even amongst rival triads. Now we're killing each other at weddings, even in a hospital. And for what?
Speeding away from the scene, Wei loses the cops and drops off Ricky, with him being one of the last even remotely trustworthy members left, now very much in his good graces. A perfect leg up to have in Wei's now much more upmarket lifestyle.
I don't know why, but I suspect that Igor somehow has something to do with this.
With Wei's new friend and rapidly rising reputation, he is given yet another chance to expand, as well as get close to his new target, with Ricky setting up a meeting with Sunny Wo, who assigns Wei with looking after a popular American musician visiting Hong Kong, taking him out on the town to the hottest places in the city.
Oh my god, it's Igor. Igor, I'm simply at a loss for words at this point. You You just keep getting weirder.
Finishing up a rare opportunity to blow off some steam, Wei then returns to Broken Nose Jiang, who has come up with a rather sinister plan to destabilize Uncle Po's nephew, Tu Jin Sao, and force him to step down. With Cao being Po's temporary stand-in, him stepping down would cause for an election to take place, something else for Zhang to take advantage of. So a plan is made to pay a visit to the incredibly superstitious man's home, in an attempt to push Cao back into his drug habit, by sneaking in and rearranging the place so it looks as if some powerful spirits are plaguing him.
And now you will give him a nudge over the edge.
A task he gets busy with the help of Zhang's henchman, Old Salty Crab.
Right on schedule. Usually goes gambling at this time. Tu Chin loses money fast. We better hurry up.
And after changing some clocks, moving the furniture and getting a face full of Xiao's disturbing artwork.
Well, do you know what will really make this hallway? A picture of Cyclops naked Caucasian Shrek.
A pair now only need make their escape, attempting to remain hidden,
Anybody in there?
despite Old Salty Crab's lackluster stealth skills.
They're gone.
Making it out into the bushes, the pair get to watch Cao return and have a complete mental breakdown over what he thinks are evil spirits messing with him.
Get out! I need to think!
With this leading into Wei getting a call from Broken Nose Jiang, who has dire news.
Uncle Po. He's dead. We're making arrangements for the funeral.
Things could get,
Complicated. Yes.
With some time before the funeral of Uncle Po, Wei revisits Ricky and Sunny, with Ricky not staying for long, as he is heading out on the town with a local star, Vivian. Sunny, turning to Wei, asks him to set up some secret cameras to spy on this woman, as with Sunny working closely with Big Smile Lee, needs to make sure his investments are towing the line. Heading over to the woman's apartment and getting into a couple of unexpected fights with some local chickens.
Are you serious?
As well as some rather aggressive building workers outside the apartment complex.
Well, it's always nice to see a man that's into his work.
Wei plants all of the bugs and cameras in the apartment, while dodging both Vivian as well as his new pal Ricky, who we find is a lot closer with Vivian than we first thought, sneaking away with all he needs to confront a certain superintendent about a certain arrest warrant.
Wei, did you bring the video?
And Jackie?
Done. This should be all I need to put Sunny Woe away for a long time. And with Uncle Po dead...
Wait, how'd you hear about that?
Good news travels fast.
Pleased with Wei delivering the evidence and agreeing to trade it for Jackie's freedom, Pendro lets Wei know that he will be arranging his debriefing. Given the rise of Big Smile Lee and all the chaos still unfolding, as expected, Wei does not agree with Pendro's order to put a stop to this operation.
Those are my orders.
Your orders, and f*** you too, Pendrew. I came on to take down the Sun On Yi, not to shuffle the deck.
Shen, you're making a mistake.
Capping off an already frantic night, Wei gets visited by Vivian, completely unaware of the surveillance that he has just been doing, with her clearly being sent by Sunny to put the moves on Wei, which she is having second thoughts about, potentially due to her relationship with Ricky, or possibly due to Wei smelling like week old pork bun and chicken blood.
Look, Vivian, you don't need to. Not with me, okay?
So, you mean you're okay with it?
Yeah, it's okay.
The following day, the time has come for the funeral of Uncle Po, with all the major players of the Sun On Yi gathering to pay their respects. Unfortunately, they are not the only ones gathering, as both a group of 18K members, along with the police, also make an appearance, leading to an incredibly tense exchange between Wei and Pendro, who after arresting Sunny in front of everyone, leaves both Wei and the rest of the Sun On Yi leaders in the sights of the rival 18K.
Hey! You can't do this here! It's a funeral! Goddamn police! Why don't you show some respect, huh?
Why don't you? The 18K are about to do this city a great public service. And anyone who stays here deserves everything they get.
Blasting his way through the hordes of 18K, the Sun On Yi leaders gather once again, with Dog Eyes clearly upset, discussing the urgent need to have someone in place as the chairman, with both Wei and Jiang still calling for an election, but something that may be too late, as Big Smile Lee is clearly running out of patience.
But I'm warning you here and now. Making anyone other than me the chairman will be disastrous for Sun On Yi.
Everyone has a vote. Our tradition allows...
What's the tradition? Ricky! It's out.
The 18K showdown at the funeral, however, is only the beginning of the carnage, as Big Smile Lee sends out his forces to cause chaos in the streets, with a full-blown Sun On Yi civil war breaking out.
Stupid bitch! Where's Wei Shen? I got a message for him from Big Smile Lee.
Oh yeah?
Ha! Just the piece of shit I'm looking for. You're going to vote for Lee, you hear me? You don't? We're gonna f*** you. All your ancestors and
leading to huge gunfights between the gangs and the police, with the police having to pull out some baffling tactics indeed.
What the fuck was that?
Chopping down Big Smile's forces, Wei now needs a plan to bring Ricky over to his side and away from Big Smile Lee, who clearly cannot be trusted.
You said no?
Of all the people Sunny told me to be with, Wei is the only one who said no. The only one. Even you. You didn't say no.
Listen, Ricky, you have to choose. If you back Sunny, Lee will probably ask you to kill her yourself. Or you can get her out of here, keep her safe, and Sunny stays in jail.
Okay, but what about Big Smile Lee?
You let me worry about Lee.
With everything spiraling out of control, Wei visits with his handler Raymond, who begs Wei to finish his time undercover. However, this meeting is put to a swift end when Wei gets a call from who he thinks is Jackie.
Jackie, not now. I'm busy.
Mr. Shen, we have your friend, so listen very carefully. You'll receive our instructions. Follow them if you want him to live.
Now having to deal with his close friend being abducted, Wei heads to the location this mysterious voice sends over. As you would imagine, walking right into a trap. Unknown to these gentlemen, it is however them who have wandered into their own doom, with Wei easily dismantling them, along with being rather persuasive when inquiring about the real location of his friend.
I only talked to him on my phone. Here, take it!
Following the leads from the hoodlums sent to take him out, and getting to enjoy the slowest attempted getaway in human history. Wei is tipped off to a location out on a remote island, quickly jumping into a boat and blasting his way through yet another ambush, including a random bloke in a suit for some reason.
When the plan to get out of dinner with the in-laws gets a little bit out of hand.
Reaching the island, we pull Jackie from his early grave, who explains to the surprise of no one that Big Smile Lee was behind this, with Lee handing Jackie over to the 18K at the funeral of Uncle Po.
Got some shit to think about.
Sure, man. It's cool.
I'll see you tomorrow or something.
All right. Don't do anything stupid.
After some rest, Wei is awoken by a message from Jackie, asking him to come and meet him so he can show Wei something. Jumping into his swanky new wheels, Wei heads straight over, arriving to find Jackie nowhere to be found.
Jackie?
And after calling him up, he finds him all right.
Oh, fuck. Jackie!
Hello, Mr. Shen. Or should I say, Officer Shen.
Now in binds and in the clutches of one of Dog Eye's most notorious henchmen, the cat is out of the bag. Somehow they know who he really is. Facing down torture, Wei passes out, waking up on the floor while his captors wait for him to come around. Somehow managing to muster up some strength, Wei uses the tools around the building site to break his binds and the neck of the nearby guard, giving him some much-needed time to gather himself for a fight for his life, as he attempts to make it out of the sights of Big Smile Lee's henchmen, despite the utterly hilariously terrible firearms. Somehow managing to work his way through, he gets a chance to settle the score with Lee's interrogator, with the last of his remaining strength.
sorry, Jackie. Lee. Fuck the election. You did this, Lee. And I'm coming for you.
Taking a moment to gather his strength, Wei has no doubt in his mind what he must do next. Fully recharged, Wei then heads into the lion's den for a showdown with Big Smile Lee, gunning down hordes of his men and clearly terrifying the local population.
Mommy, $10,000 to whoever killed
Mummy! Mummy!
Pulling back Lee from escaping on a boat, the pair face off on the docks. Getting back to his feet, Wei feels the rage pouring through him. Big Smile has done some terrible things, but this time, this was way too far. Turning Big Smile Lee into mush, Wei is picked up by the authorities, with Raymond explaining that due to the success of this operation, Pendro has been promoted. Not exactly something to celebrate, as Wei heads back to his apartment to see a package left by Broken Nose Zhang, containing a videotape that pulls the curtain back on Pendro, showing him visiting Uncle Po in the hospital, with him being the one that caused the death of the Sun On Yi henchman all along.
The only difference between you and me is I know what I am.
Pendro just couldn't help himself, overcome with his power trip taking down his enemies. Pendro not only threw Wei to the dogs, but committed murder, a murder that will haunt him for the rest of his most likely very short life.
You ready for life in prison? What? Because all your old buddies are gonna be waiting for you. I made sure they found out what you did to Uncle Po.
That's a f***ing death sentence.
I know.
Where you can't. I won't last a day in there.
That's the plan.
Now with his undercover work complete, Wei visits Inspector Tang to thank her for helping him so much during his investigation, with us getting to see Broken Nose Zhang looking on from a distance, deciding to let Wei go, as after all, now everything is said and done, the Sun On Yi's corruption has been cut out, leaving Zhang at the head of it all. Finishing up the main story, as you would imagine in an open-world game, is not the end of the content Sleeping Dogs has to offer, as along with a whole host of side missions and open-world experiences, the game also offers a number of DLCs, with the two most notable being the Year of the Snake and the Nightmare in North Point, that provide new missions and storylines, over most of the others that typically include cosmetics and vehicles. The former is set on the eve of Chinese New Year, and lets you play as Wei working as an officer, as opposed to being undercover, tracking down a new threat looming over the city, while doing some of the most subtle eavesdropping known to man.
I'm old school. Got to be kung fu. Me too.
See how you like it.
Oh, hello, Igor.
You're a pig.
Well, she seems rather upset. What did you do? Did she try to give you some ice cream?
Taking individuals into custody for questioning, of course providing you don't mistake the current location pin with the current objective, and end up attempting to drag a suspect over an entire kilometer back to the station, that despite using him as a human shield, and some more shenanigans with the game's GPS.
Oh, the bloody GPS again!
Ends in disaster.
What is all this fucking Squid Game shit?
With all of this, of course, having a fair amount of hand-to-hand combat for Officer Shen to get stuck into, throwing down even despite this DLC's incredibly slippery rain.
Oh, it is off!
With this DLC being a couple of hours of a much shorter storyline, with Wei once again saving the city, but this time as a super cop. And since all DLCs are included in the definitive edition, is a decent change of pace, if not only to get access to some of the unlockables in the main game, and yes, that includes the police outfit I just had to unlock and use during the initiation, just to see how silly it would look. Speaking of looking silly, that brings me to the second DLC storyline, Nightmare on North Point, that as you may have gathered from the name, goes for a much more out-there supernatural approach, with its evil threat invading the city, this time being Smiley Cat, a former gang member killed and returned as undead to steal Wei's girl and terrorize the city. Of course, when he's not making a total tit out of himself attempting it.
What?
Keep coming, you rat!
He's getting away!
You think you can chase me down?
Yes.
You're a joke, Shen!
Oh, the irony.
Frankly, quite a hilarious addition to the game, taking on hordes of creepy-looking spirits and demons, using a new mechanic boosting up attacks and wielding powerful swords, that even so devolves into Wei cutting down the Hellspawn the only way he knows how. And even introducing them to the fine art of flower arranging.
You piece of shit!
With the undead theme even bringing back some of the defeated enemies of the base game, and hilariously leading to some therapy for Wei, getting to smash the absolute crap out of Dog-Eye's balls all over again. Very much a tongue-in-cheek focused romp around the city to cap things off, with even some of the game's dialogue swinging away from its typically incredibly well-written conversations into far more silly interactions.
Where's Ponytail?
What kind of name is that?
And even culminating in an incredibly thriller-inspired final scene.
So we finish that date?
Oh, yes.
After now replaying through all that this previously thrown-away game has to offer, it remains clear to me that even 14 years later, why so many consider it to be a true cult classic. I play a fair variety of games for the channel. And to the surprise of no one, sometimes the process of getting the footage together can be quite painful, depending on the subject matter. With Sleeping Dogs, I was truly looking forward to covering it, as it's incredibly hard not to enjoy the ride, no matter how many times I've played through it. A truly memorable tale, delivered in a self-aware yet epic-feeling open world. Attention to details such as civilians pulling out umbrellas, or even a car's suspension shifting when a large bloke gets out of it, clearly shows the passion put into this project. A game that can be incredibly goofy one moment.
Just ignore
Right,
it.
I'll have one pork bun, please, sir.
Dog, I'll give you anything.
Sir.
Money, my wife.
Hold on, what?
Then hugely intense the next.
Get out of our territory, and in return, we'll let him live.
Something that is hard to pull off, for sure. Since being discarded by Activision claiming worries that it would not compete with Rockstar, I have to wonder what exactly they were smoking, or if they really sat down to see the game for what it was, considering that it was practically complete. Even more baffling was the spin-off, the sequel, as well as a movie around the game also being canned, making it for sure one of the most cancelled titles I have ever come across that wasn't bollocks. Quite the opposite. As for me, I can see myself returning to this one, time and time again. And just hope that we might be able to finally see a return for Sleeping Dogs in the future. Somehow. Some way. But enough from me, what do you think? Did you play Sleeping Dogs back in the day? Have you got any suggestions for any other deep dives you would like to see coming up on the channel? As always, I'm keen to get your thoughts down in the comments. And if it's another bonkers adventure you're after, I'm sure you'll enjoy the whole playlist of them coming up in just a few moments. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next upload. Huge thank you to my patrons for helping me keep the lights on. If you're interested in ad-free, uncensored versions of these longer videos, as well as a whole host of exclusive videos and extras, you can find out more down in the description. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.